Okay, I'm going to start with just the sort of prehistory of Dealey Plaza because Willis and I authored a book recently that is all about the history of Dealey Plaza and not just what happened there on November 22nd, but its relevance to city history and national history. And it's pretty fascinating because it's essentially where Dallas begins as an Anglo-American settlement. What's interesting is that where Dealey Plaza is right now is, if you can imagine this right now, there's the courthouse, there's Commerce, Main, and Elm, which make up the triple underpass. And of course, one thing you can see in here are two streets that no longer exist, Water and Broadway. There's an 1872 aerial view, or bird's eye view, which shows those two streets and shows you a little bit more of the layout of the land before the river was moved. There it is looking at the straight directly across the toll bridge towards Oak Cliff, or actually more like West Dallas. So it was a very important area of commerce, and of course the Commerce Street Bridge was built over several times over. This is the 1916 bridge that you can see from the cupola of the old red courthouse. I'll let Willis go on with the Public Works program.
Thank you, John. Good evening. Many of you are probably familiar with the history of the Trinity River. Starting in 1929, the river, the original meander, which came right up under the bluff at the base of Water Street in downtown Dallas, just under the location of Bryant's cabin, was moved after a series of floods about a quarter of a mile to a mile west out to where it is currently located between the two levees. The viaducts and bridges were built. That was the first phase in a massive public works project that included not only addressing flood control, but also a new entranceway, vehicular entranceway to the west end of downtown Dallas. So here's a view of the area that is now Dealey Plaza before the demolition began. And so you can see the warehouse buildings that John talked about, the courthouse. Here's the school book depository, or the Rock Island and Millennium Plow Company. So Dealey Plaza today is roughly in this area. Also notice where the railroads are located. Here's Union Station. Eventually, as Dealey Plaza would be built, the railroads had to be pushed about 125 feet to the west in order to get the gradient, the vehicular gradient for cars to slope down and cross under the railroad tracks, so that gradient wouldn't be too steep. Various funding options were studied. It took a long time to secure the federal funds. They finally came in through the State Highway Department, and work was able to begin seriously on the planning for this project. Here again is a aerial view showing the county courthouse. Some other buildings that are recognizable in this view include the records building here, the old criminal courthouse building, which was built in 1922. Here's the school book depository building. So this is the area that would become Dealey Plaza. A lot of demolition had to occur. And here's a view of the buildings that were taken down to build Dealey Plaza. It wasn't known as Dealey Plaza at the time. It was called the Triple Underpass, and it went through a lot, or the subway, the Triple Subway, to describe how these three streets, Commerce, Main, and Elm, would be sort of tied together to pass under the railroad tracks that would be relocated. So here's some of the buildings that were torn down, and sort of a feature in the Dallas Morning News. A lot of Dallas history here. An old firehouse that was changed to different uses over the years. A lot of early hotels in Dallas. And the next view shows the pile of rubble which was cleared in late 1934, looking back towards Old Red. You'll notice also that the courthouse has by this time lost its cupola or turret on top. So demolition proceeded quickly, and then the design started to formulate, and construction was underway in 1935. This is an aerial view of a design proposal made by a Dallas architect, a member of the Dallas Plan Commission named Otto Lang. Lang was a partner with Frank Witchell in Lang and Witchell Architects. And this is the first time that someone brought up challenged the notion of just a strict transportation engineering project. This is one of his masterpieces for the Dallas Park system and his design. So what you see here are the fountain basins that were designed and pylons that were designed by George Dahl. And then Hare came in and proposed extending the design of those into these what we call peristyles today here. And then the two pieces in each corner of the plaza are what we call pergolas. And this, of course, being later termed the grassy knoll. The next set of drawings are the architectural drawings prepared by Hare and Hare, showing the designs, in this case, of the pergola in the southwest corner of Dealey Plaza. Kind of stripped down Depression-era modern style, very much in keeping with the style of the Triple Underpass itself, which the Dallas Morning News, in an article when it opened in 1936, stated it was reflective of the style of architecture in Chicago at the 33 Century of Progress Exposition. These are the fountain basins, again by Dahl here, and you can see, and the pylon. Hare had to sort of work his part of the design in with the existing improvements here. Now, a little later, I believe 1949, this pylon was actually removed and replaced by the current statue of George Dealey that stands there now. Its twin pylon on the other side of Main Street is still in place. But when you go there today, remember that there were originally two flanking pylons. Here are the construction documents for the pergola. And it consisted of two sort of what were called shelter houses, anchoring an open-air arcade with a trellis on top. And it flanked a grass panel in front and some steps down into the sloping embankment that took you down, in this case, to Commerce Street. All poured in place concrete with a plaster finish on top, and lead roofs on top of the shelter houses. Construction drawings for the peristyle on Houston Street, again seeing the George Dahl fountain basin and pylon. You can see how Hare used the pylon as sort of the center point of the arcs that formed the peristyle. Some construction photographs from early 1936 showing the formwork going up, the men pouring concrete on top of the gate, the shelter house here. And then, of course, the project was finished in May 1936. This is, and there was a parade that came to Dealey Plaza, but you can see in this aerial view the architectural elements and the massive quantity of trees and landscaping that were installed with this project, which was funded by the Works Progress Administration. This is an aerial view in June, probably June the 6th, looking from west down Main Street towards the east. We think this is probably the opening day parade for the Texas Centennial Exposition, when there were 250,000 people lining the parade route through downtown Dallas. And you can see the parade was sort of staging here, and it moved on through the canyons of downtown Dallas. A couple of weeks later, at that time, this parade was the highest attended event, the largest public gathering that ever happened in Dallas. A little bit later in June, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt came to Dallas to officially ribbon cut at the Centennial Exposition. There were 500,000 people in downtown Dallas for that event. We have been working, the Park and Recreation Department has been working on the restoration of Dealey Plaza in 2 phases dating back about 10 years. The most recent phase, which was funded with city bond funds and private fundraising through the Deckard Foundation, the Belo Foundation, and a number of other individuals, totals about $950,000. So we've been working to restore the architectural elements, the pergola and the peristyle. You can see some sort of the before conditions. And that work is basically finished. The fountain work is also finished. We're supposed to be filling it with water today. I'm not sure we were able to do that with the rain. But this shows sort of a before on the left and an after of the restoration as we're getting Dealey Plaza ready for the November 22nd President John F. Kennedy commemoration event that will occur there.